if you see the theme I'm going with here, is I'm going to start talking about the Padres. They dismissed Larry Rothschild, and Lou is laughing his face off because he has a couple things to say. But the theme that I'm getting to is those two teams are great offensively. The pitching is, I'll use my notes. I'm kind of waving the white flag with them and then Lou, I know you want to talk a little bit about Mr. Rothschild. The pitching is really important, and the Padres dismissed their pitching coach earlier on this week because their pitching that had Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove, and Yu Darvish has, I'd say, severely underperformed. And you said how important pitching is in the playoffs. Can the Padres bounce back with the rotation, or are they going to be so offense dependent that where it's to the point you're very concerned for them?
So I would love to take this first if I can.
Okay.
So first of all, before we even get into the pitching, all right, the Padres have to play 8 games against the Dodgers and 10 against San Francisco. And then they have 7 against Houston and Atlanta. And Cincinnati's kind of got a cakewalk. They have 9 against Pittsburgh, 4 against Washington, 3 against Chicago. A couple other good teams in the mix. They got to play St. Louis. If Cincinnati keeps afloat, San Diego's going straight down. And you know I want to talk about Larry Rothschild. We've been through this. Listen, he was the pitching coach for the Yankees from 2011 to 2019. And it always felt like he was just mediocre. So I looked it up. I was like, I wonder what the rotation numbers were for the Yankees under his tenure. Besides like one solid year in 2017 when they were 5th, every other year they were 14th, 15th, 17th in rotation ERA in all of baseball. So they were always middle of the pack to worse. Most of the time they had a 4 ERA. And I'll talk to you, Tom. It's like, when's the last time under Rothschild, like you remember, like we got a guy, trade or free agent, and he performed to or above expectations? Like it never happens. Sonny Gray called him out and said, why would you make me use my slider after he left? I think I remember Jay Happ being kind of hyped up and not doing that well. The one guy I think kind of lived up to the hype was Tanaka. But Tanaka was a guy in Japan that had like a 1 ERA. Like, could he have been better if he had a competent pitching coach? And in San Diego, Chris Paddock was amazing. Rothschild came. He's been a bust ever since. Blake Snell's come over. Nothing close to what he was like in Tampa Bay. Even Yu Darvish has like a 3.8 ERA, and he's been their best starter. Now he's hurt. I think Rothschild definitely screwed over the Padres, and it shows you what they think of him, that they fired him as they're trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think with Rothschild. Oh, sorry, Thomas. But
with
Rothschild leaving, I think it kind of shows you where the Padres are at, which is we talked about the Dodgers being able to buy it instead of grow it, or whatever phrase you want to use, but there's still something to be said about the importance of bench coaches and position coaches in the MLB, which I feel like, in a lot of situations is really overlooked just because you expect the guys to go out and perform because they're professional athletes. But as you were saying earlier, Lou, like Rothschild was average with the Yankees. And so he gets an insane pitching staff on paper that you expect with that. They're going to at least contend for the division with the Dodgers and be a lock for a wild card. And yeah, you've had some, injury problems with Yu Darvish, who just got put back on the IL because during his rehab stint, his lower back was irritating him or whatever it is with him these days. But you've got guys that you look to at the start of the year, like Blake Snell, and you just say, what happened? And look at rookie Ryan Weathers, right? He was dominant through May. And then did Rothschild not, advance him to the point where he was throwing different sequences? Because he just started getting lit up. His ERAs, it's only at 3 and 3.5 something, but he's not as dominant as you thought he was at the start of the year. So I think
his ERA got up to 5. It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad.
It's horrible.
Sorry, Ryan. I was trying to cut you a break there, buddy. Lou's having none of it on this show. But yeah, it's bad. So I think there's something to somebody in the Padres organization clearly didn't like what they were seeing. I don't agree with the time of the move, obviously, because right now for the rest of the season, their pitching coach is going to be their bullpen pitching coach. And he's got limited experience outside of a bullpen. So I think it was a wrong time for a move, but I think, as Thomas, you said earlier, it says so much about where the state of the Padres are if you're canning your pitching coach as you're in that heat of a division race and a wild card race. Like, what do you tell your pitchers? Like, oh, well, the guy from the pen's taking over. Good luck.
I think you go with the pitching machine at the batting cages where it just loops the arm. Just do that. That might be better than actually having one of their ruined commodities starting pitching at this point. As harsh as that might be, and as crazy as that might sound, it may not be the worst idea in the world, especially for a team that's going to be so offense dependent come playoff time.